Sewing safety. So we want to make sure that we are using all of our equipment and doing whatever we can to stay safe while sewing. So first of all, make sure your pins and needles are contained when you're not using them. They shouldn't be laying all over the table, on the floor. They should be in the magnetic pin holder. Pins and needles should never be placed in your mouth or intentionally in your skin. And we definitely should not be poking somebody else with a pin or a needle. When not in use, scissors should be left closed, and we always want to make sure we're passing sharp objects with the handle first. Let's check out a few other tips or maybe some things of what not to do.
Need to transport them somewhere. I just want to make sure the blades are closed and I just hold it beside me to go wherever I need to go. So you just hold it down. What we don't want to see in class is ever just randomly cutting, like air cutting, okay? Not safe to do. If you're not using it or thinking about what you're going to do next, close the blades and just set it down.
Okay, when operating the sewing machine, we're going to sew at a slow, steady speed. When people go too fast while using the sewing machine, it tends to lead to mistakes, accidents, and they might get hurt. When sewing, I want you to place your fingers to either side of the presser foot, as you can see in this picture here. We don't want to have our fingers directly in front of or near the needle. We also want to let the feed dogs do their job. Feed dogs are underneath the presser foot. So that means that you have to just let the fabric move through the machine and not try and force it too much. When sewing on the machine, you have to make sure that you remove your pins before you get to them so you don't sew over them. That can cause damage to the machine or the needle. When you're not ready to sew, you're going to remove your foot from the foot control and place it on the floor so you don't accidentally sew when you're not ready. And make sure you turn off the machine anytime you're not actually sewing. Let's see some of these tips in action.
Starting to sew, you want to get your fabric situated. I have my fabric already pinned, and so when I get this set up underneath the presser foot, I need to make sure that I lower the presser foot down, which is going to press the fabric against the feed dogs so they can move the fabric through the machine. So I don't need to pull on it, or I'm just here to guide it as we sew. So when I'm all set, I can turn my machine on and then put my foot on the foot control. And when I start, I want to go at that nice, slow, steady speed so that I have control. I also need to watch for these pins. I don't want to sew over a pin, which could cause damage to the machine, the pin. So I need to stop and take those pins out as I get to them. I also want to make sure that I place them into a container or the magnet so that they aren't just laying all over my table. So I'll continue to sew at that slow, steady speed, stopping when I get close to a pin until I get all the way through. Again, I'm just here to guide it. I don't want to be holding it in place. I've got my hands on either side of the presser foot, not going straight into the needle. And then you also want to make sure that when you're not sewing, your foot's on the floor, not resting on that foot control, and also turn your machine off anytime you need to check something with the machine, if you need to rethread the machine, or just anytime you're kind of in between sewing certain things. Don't just leave the machine on. That's when accidents happen. Things can get broken on the machine. And so you want to make sure that you are having it off when you don't need it.